Shiva, the ultimate cosmic power, commands the universe. He could adorn himself with anything: limitless wealth, precious gems, immortality itself. Yet, his primary ornament is a living serpent. If you look at this image of Shiva, the golden snake resting around his neck is a highly specific mythological figure. This is Vasuki, the king of the Nagas, the sovereign ruler of the underworld realm known as Patala. Vasuki had thousands of siblings, including his older brother Sheshanaga. Sheshanaga forms the cosmic bed of Lord Vishnu and holds the earth on his hoods. But Vasuki took a completely different path. Where Shesha represents power and patience, Vasuki's life is defined by a series of agonizing physical trials and sacrifice. To understand why he is given such a high honor, we have to look at the moments when the entire weight of the universe rested on his scales. Moments where he was the only thing preventing total cosmic collapse. Looking at these harsh, desolate peaks of the Himalayas, you get a sense of the extreme isolation Vasuki sought. As a young king, he developed a singular desire: to serve Lord Shiva. He abandoned the jewel-filled palaces of Patala and sat in these frozen mountains to meditate. He abandoned food and water. For years, he remained entirely motionless. Blizzards buried him in snow, wildfires raged through the surrounding forests, and termites built mounds over his scales, but he refused to break his concentration. When Shiva eventually appeared, he offered the young king any boon he desired. Vasuki could have asked for unimaginable wealth or total invincibility. He asked only for the right to serve. In response, Shiva granted him an eternal place wrapped around his own neck. This was his first victory. He secured the highest proximity to the divine by stripping away everything he had and asking for nothing in return. During the Treta Yuga, the gods lost their divine abilities due to a sage's curse. Asuras quickly overran heaven. To survive, the gods needed Amrit, the nectar of immortality, which was hidden deep within the cosmic ocean. To extract it, they had to churn the sea. They decided to use the massive Mount Mandara as their churning rod, but they lacked a rope strong enough to wrap around the mountain and withstand the pulling force of gods and demons working together. Brahma pointed to the only entity capable of surviving the tension: Vasuki. When approached, Vasuki understood exactly what this meant. His body would be stretched to its absolute limit to pull a mountain through a violently churning ocean. He agreed immediately. This stone relief illustrates how he was used. Notice the figures hauling the serpent rope. As they pulled, the sheer weight of Mount Mandara ground into Vasuki's spine. His scales were shredded, yet he endured the process without making a sound. Vishnu orchestrated the event so the Asuras were positioned at Vasuki's head. As the physical pain peaked, the Serpent King involuntarily exhaled venomous smoke and fire. The Asuras, taking the brunt of this toxic heat, were weakened, shifting the balance of power toward the gods. Vasuki allowed himself to be physically broken. Without that specific sacrifice, the nectar of immortality and the survival of the gods would have been impossible. Before the ocean yielded the nectar, it produced halahal. This was a lethal, world-ending poison that blackened the sky and instantly killed the surrounding flora and fauna. Both gods and demons scattered in terror. Shiva stepped forward and caught the halahal in his hands, drinking the poison to save the universe. Parvati grabbed his throat to stop the venom from descending, turning his neck permanently blue. Through this entire ordeal, Vasuki was still wrapped around Shiva's neck. Bound to the mountain of his own will, he felt the intense, burning radiation of the poison seeping through his master's skin. He refused to uncoil, choosing to absorb the toxic heat alongside Shiva. Later, 3 powerful demon brothers built 3 Pura, 3 massive cities made of iron, silver, and gold. Their boon stated that the cities could only be destroyed when aligned in a single row, and only by a single arrow. When the planetary alignment finally occurred, Shiva raised his massive bow, but realized it had no string. Vasuki quickly offered his body to be stretched across the weapon. Shiva fired the arrow, reducing all 3 cities to ash. In every major cosmic victory, Vasuki operates as the invisible catalyst. He enables the success of others while quietly absorbing the physical damage himself. The physical trials of the cosmic ocean were over, but Vasuki now faced a threat that didn't target his body, but his entire lineage. It began with his mother, Kudru. She demanded her serpent children help her cheat in a wager to make a divine white horse appear black. When many refused to participate in the lie, she cursed them to one day burn alive. Generations later, King Janamejaya initiated the Sarpas Satra. This dark ritual generated an intense magical pull, physically dragging snakes from across the world and hurling them directly into this roaring sacrificial fire. Sitting in Patala, Vasuki listened to his subjects, his friends, and young serpents screaming as they were consumed by the flames. The king, who had endured the physical torture of pulling a mountain in total silence, wept helplessly for his dying people. He knew brute strength couldn't stop the ritual. Relying on an old prophecy, Vasuki deployed his brilliant nephew, Astika. Astika entered the sacrificial grounds and recited profound Vedic curses, deeply impressing King Janamejaya, who granted him a boon. Astika immediately demanded the ritual be stopped. Vasuki recognized that protection requires wisdom when force fails. His ultimate agony was the suffering of his subjects, and his ultimate victory was saving them through diplomacy. We see the final validation of these sacrifices during the Kurukshetra war. In this painting, a broken Arjuna sits in his chariot, refusing to fight, right before Lord Krishna reveals the nature of the divine. This ancient Devanagari manuscript records chapter 10 of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna outlines his divine manifestations. He lists the greatest elements of reality, stating he is the Ganges among rivers and Indra among gods. Then, Krishna makes a specific declaration. Among serpents, I am Vasuki. The Supreme Being explicitly equated his own nature with Vasuki's selfless existence. Look at this woman praying to a cobra during the modern festival of Nag Panchami. This act of worship is a direct tribute to Vasuki's life of giving without asking. Vasuki's story demonstrates that the highest form of existence is not holding power. It is about becoming the silent, unbreakable foundation upon which the rest of the world survives.